you can't go and take $100 account, grow it by 2%, which is $2, and call yourself successful, although you had one successful trade. But if you do that over time and compounding, it won't be a couple of years before that's a six-figure account.
Have faith in your mind, have faith in your grind, invest in yourself, transform in your time. Have faith in your mind, have faith in your grind, invest in yourself, transform in your time. Trading get paid, trading get paid, trading get paid, trading get paid,
I want to encourage everybody real quick. There's a book I've been reading, and man, it's super fire. Some of you may have already read it, I don't know, but I've been noticing a lot of questions. Let me say it this way before I tell you the book. I've been noticing a lot of questions, pertaining to long-term success in trading, and I'm finding that as I ask questions and as I talk to different people, I'm finding that the majority of people are having struggles with habits. It's not necessarily trading strategy. It's not necessarily, missing out on the right trade. It's usually I got in too early, I got out too late, I got in too late, got out too early, something like that. Is that you? Can anybody relate to that? Where maybe you did the right analysis and everything happened like you thought it would, but what happened was maybe your mindset wasn't right, or maybe your approach wasn't right. Maybe you had a bad habit in there that kind of threw you off. There's a book, and it's super phenomenal. I want to encourage you guys to read it. So everybody has heard of the atom bomb, right? Or the atomic bomb, right? Well, that's of course a very large scale weapon of mass destruction, and it causes a very big boom. Can do a lot of damage. But atomic, we think atomic as, massive, but really atomic means actually the opposite. It means small, right? So something that is made of atoms, something that is small. Atomic actually means, that it's extremely small molecules, and but together or with purpose or with longevity can do massive things. And so the atomic bomb is one example of that. In this book I was reading, it talks about a flight, and if a flight left Los Angeles headed to Washington DC, it would fly in a certain trajectory. And what's crazy is that of course the traffic control center gives them directions and gives them exact guidance and whatever, but as they're flying and they're taking off, if that plane were to take off literally 1 degree, 1%, like tiny difference, right? And if it were to take off and follow the path of a 1 degree difference, rather than that plane landing in Washington DC, that plane would land in Florida. And it's a small change, a very minute difference, which when you look at the size of a plane, and when you look at what a degree would be, we're talking about maybe 6 inches. We're talking something that is like 5 or 6 inches. So imagine turning a plane 5 or 6 inches. You would think, well, that's not that big of a deal. But if you follow that 5 or 6 inches, or that few inches at 1 degree, and you continue that same trajectory, you're going to miss your mark by a long shot. And I feel like what's happening here is so many people may have one small thing that is off, one small thing that is hanging you up, and because it's happening over longevity and a long time, it's ending up in a different result than what you expected. And for those who are having success, you didn't have success because, you know, one day you woke up and you were a good trader. You know, it was because you made small changes that amounted to large differences over time. And what I want to encourage you to understand is that the real key to becoming successful in Forex is longevity. It's consistency. It's building a plan and following a plan. You know, you can't go and take $100 account, grow it by 2%, which is $2, and, you know, call yourself successful, although you had one successful trade. But if you do that over time and compounding, you know, it won't be a couple of years before that's a six-figure account, you know. And so, you know, it's doing the right things for long periods of time, not doing it a couple times and then, oh, I'm not rich yet. You know, that's where some people mess up is, you know, they do the right things, but they don't do it long enough. They do the right things for a couple of weeks, but because they don't see big results, or because they get blinded by seeing somebody posting screenshots with, you know, 6 and 7-figure accounts, which, to be honest with you, is why you don't see me posting my screenshots so often. In the group and in TTA, I've shown you guys, you know, my trading accounts. And those of you who have been, you know, with me, you have seen, especially those of you who have traded live with me, you know, you've seen my accounts and you see what I trade with. But I don't really post that stuff because I don't find it to be helpful. I find it actually is the opposite. It discourages people who may not be trading with 6 or 7-figure accounts. If somebody who's trading with $100 or a $500 or $1,000 account, and then seeing somebody trading with a $600 or a $700 $1,000 account, you know, that it's almost like, man, well, I'm not making, you know, $4,000 in a trade. I'm not making, you know, $700 $800 in a trade. I'm only making $2. And you know, that can be discouraging. So what I want to encourage you is to understand that what I do, what Jay does, what others do, this has come over time. I want to encourage you to do the right things, but I want you to do it over time. And so, and now let me get to that book. The book is called Atomic Habits. Okay, so I want you to look that up. It is absolutely a phenomenal book. If you haven't read it already, if you haven't downloaded on Audible or wherever you do your ebooks, or your audio books or whatever, download the book. It's called Atomic Habits, and it is absolute fire. Okay. Atomic Habits. And so anyway, I just wanted to encourage you. You can do this. All right. When I first started, I couldn't even think about. I remember thinking like, man, $5,000-$10,000. That's crazy amounts of money. I can't, you know, I can't make $10,000. You know, that's like, you know, I go to work and make that in 6 months or something, you know. You know, I didn't make no money like this. But I had to get my mind right. And it was small things that I changed along the way that I held to. Number one is tracking my trades. You know, if you don't track your trades, you're never going to be successful. I promise you. If you are not tracking your trades, you are not going to be successful. Let me just go ahead and be the doom and gloom guy for you right now. If you are not tracking your trades, you will not be successful, period. Because you can't manage what you don't measure. Okay. You can't manage what you don't measure. You have to be able to analyze and take a look at what is going on. Somebody says, well, you know, I've been losing trades. I don't know what to do. Well, are you able to identify why you're losing the trades? Can you go back and look at your last 20 trades and see why some of them are losing? Can you identify that? Can you go back on a chart and look and see what went wrong? Because if you're not tracking those trades, you're never going to be able to fix what went wrong, right? So you need to be able to identify why you're losing, and even more importantly, identify why you're winning. Because some of you hit the button and press buy and you win, you get a good trade, or maybe you took a trade setup that we sent out and win, and you're happy because your account's growing. But if you can't tell me why you want to trade or why your account is growing, what are you doing here, right? What's the problem? So you need to be able to track what you're doing. All right. Number 2 is you need to understand what the boundaries of your trade plan are. You need to have rules and those rules need to be followed. Don't just set rules and then don't follow them and then expect for, why doesn't Forex work? Why is, everybody telling me, oh, they were right, Forex was a scam. No, you didn't follow the rules. You got to have some discipline. So, it's hard to be disciplined when there's not a structure to align yourself to, right? How can a discipline to what? To what guideline? To what set of rules am I being disciplined to? Right? So if you don't even have a set of rules, well, how do you know if you're being disciplined? You could, I took a couple wins, I won, I must be disciplined. No, the same, just as quick as those wins came, your losses can come. So you need to make sure that you have some rules that you follow. Go in the TTA resource library in the document section, and my trade plan's right there for you. You could literally use my trade plan as an outline. All right, so go in there, make a trade plan, identify what pairs you're going to trade, identify what percentage risk you're willing to take, identify what your minimum risk to reward is going to be, identify what strategy you're going to use, not 5 or 10 or 20 different strategies. Identify what strategy you're going to use and use it, and be consistent with it, right? And if you can start to do those things, small adjustments to what you're doing, and then do them for periods of time. Don't follow the rules in 5 trades and then I'm not a millionaire, so that's it, I'm done trading. No, you need to do that. What I tell people is I don't quit anything unless I've done it for 6 months consistently and it doesn't work. If I've given something 6 months of consistent, honest, and effort with integrity, if I can say I have done everything I'm supposed to do, I've stuck to it, and I've done it exactly to the letter for 6 months straight, 6 months straight to the letter, okay, and it's not working, fine, then I can make an adjustment. But if I haven't even given it 6 months, what's the purpose here? You're looking for a home run overnight, but I'm telling you that it's more important to keep your men on base. So that's that. I ain't gonna preach to you all night, but I hope this makes some sense to you guys. And please go read that book, Atomic Habits. Very, very good book, and I hope that it'll bring a good impact to you. I would highly recommend the book.